Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Kings podcast. In today's podcast, we have our third guest of the year, football player Griffin Cates. He joins us to talk about the Week 9 matchups and a lot of controversies that have recently struck the league. We hope you enjoy. Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Kings podcast. Today we are here for Week 9 of the season. I can't believe we're already this far into it. And as you have probably noticed, we have another guest, our third guest, Griffin Cates, in here joining us. Griffin plays football for Hersey and also lacrosse, but we're not in that season yet, so we'll focus on football. Season sadly just came to an end, but maybe Griffin just recap some of the the moments from this season and the ride you guys went on.
Yeah, so we had a pretty good start. Went 7-0 through our first 7 games. The last 3 didn't go our way or as we wanted. Homecoming came to a shootout at the end. Controversial call with Braden. Buffalo Grove just couldn't get much started after they came up. I think it was 21-7 on us in the first half. Really shut us down with the front 3 on the defensive line. And then the playoff game against Jacobs, sadly, rainy night, couldn't get any passing going, versus a wishbone team, 3 in the back, heavy dudes up front. They were just running it down us in the gut. So sad end, but happy to play with those guys. Those guys are my brothers forever, and I'm just happy to be with them.
Yeah, so senior season obviously was fun, but now we're bringing you in here to talk about fantasy football. So let's just get right into it here. What do you see some guys in the Browns at the Bengals matchup?
So this is a division matchup, I'm pretty sure. These guys have played tough, both teams. Cleveland, of course, Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, David Njoku. I think they just lost Odell, though, sadly.
Yep.
Yeah. Cincinnati, great start. This is the best Cincinnati team I've seen in my lifetime, actually. Joe Burrow has just been getting the work done, has the guys up front for them to win it all. I think this year they're setting a tone for who they want to be in the future, and I see the Cincinnati Bengals winning this game overall with their Jamar Chase being the leader in the passing game.
Yeah, so I wanted to go back to that Odell incident because that's the big news coming out of here. 2 days ago, we get the fact that he is excused from practice, and then today, I think either last night or early this morning, they're like, yeah, he's gone.
Yeah,
so.
It's weird because I had read something about it, and it said that he wanted to stay there. He liked it there or something, and then all of a sudden he got excused from practice. Well, I don't even know why he's mad. Baker had one bad game. I don't really understand what's even going on necessarily. I guess.
And he had such a time in Cleveland. He was injured to start this. He just was amazing on the Giants, of course, everyone knows, and then just never really got it going there.
Being in that division that they're into with the Steelers and the Ravens too, I think they could end up in last, honestly. Just based off that.
Yeah, I mean, Landry is going to have to carry all that stuff
and
now.
I don't really like any of
that. I feel like Baker,
like Donovan Peoples-Jones and stuff like that.
I mean, I had him on fantasy. He popped off.
He did pop off. I feel like Baker, though, is always connected with Landry more.
Yeah.
I just feel like Odell and Baker never really got enough chemistry to get it going.
And then let's get into the Broncos at the Cowboys. Cowboys are looking really good this year. They're not like frauds. They're actually for real good. The defense especially has been better this year. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, obviously, are going to start. And I wanted to bring this up quickly. I forget. I think it was Wilson. They ran a trick play, and he threw a dime to CeeDee, a 40-yarder in the last game. That was hilarious to see. But, I mean, all your there's not really outliers in in Dallas. Like
Yeah.
you know who you're
You
starting.
could even if you're in a bigger league, you could even start like Tony Pollard, like as your like
like maybe
extra
he's
flex.
the iffy guy, but like besides that,
But,
like
the
you
fact that their
know.
backup running back could even be like a question is like crazy to me.
Yeah, and then on the Broncos side, we have Jerry Jeudy returned, so he's back.
I didn't even know about that. Javonte
Underwhelming game.
Williams.
Yeah, that's the
Baller.
big story. Javonte Williams obviously is just going to keep growing. We've said it on this podcast a million times, but he's your guy. Like late into playoffs, he could be a sneaky asset to have. But besides that, especially with Jeudy back. This wide receiver core is kind of just a blob. I wouldn't trust really
good,
anyone. Though. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, Sutton actually has been putting up pretty good points. And then Noah Fant actually got hurt. Yeah. So, I forget his backup's name, but definitely pick him up. He'll have his share targets if you need a tight end.
Noah Fant wasn't even producing, though, when
I know.
he was on, so I don't think you should pick him up. You're not going to see much production there.
Yeah. I mean, tight ends are just voodoo, though, so. Yeah. But that pretty much does it there. Let's get into the Texans at the Dolphins.
Well, this is definitely the most unexciting matchup of the week.
Well, I mean, Tyrod could return.
Return, yeah. And, I do want to say basically no one on the Texans is worth starting besides Brandon Cooks. And I think Miami has such a weak defense that he actually could have a pretty good week this week.
Yeah.
As for Miami, however, they were pretty aggravated at Tua. Well, not aggravated, but looking to move on from Tua.
Between these two teams, I was just about to say that I thought that trade was definitely going to happen.
So weird.
I definitely thought we were going to see Deshaun get moved.
It was such like a weird situation because they're like, it's done.
Yeah,
it didn't make any sense.
And then I also heard about the Panthers. Like they were interested. There's like a potential there too.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to go quickly back to Brandon Cooks. If Tyrod's back, his tiers.
His level will go way up.
Running back situation there is horrible. Mark Ingram left. David Johnson got nothing. That's a mess.
I have Myles Gaskin in one of my leagues.
I do too.
He's so.
He's Gaskin's boom or bust, pretty much. So. I mean,
this is definitely a boom week.
Yeah, I think
have to think. I mean,
if you need a flex spot, put him in.
But I think Will Fuller's still hurt too.
Yeah, I was so high on him going into this season, and then he had to break his finger.
I was honestly really high on him too. I drafted him in most of my leagues, and I was just like, I think he'll get it done.
Yeah. And they said he was going to be out for 3 weeks. It's been 6.
He tweaked his finger.
Yeah, his finger injury is keeping him out. I mean, I know he's a wide receiver, so you need your hands to be healthy, but I don't know.
After that, let's move into the Falcons at the Saints.
So I messed with the Falcons in fantasy heavy because I picked up Cordell before he popped off, and he's basically the reason why that team's going to make the playoffs. So I love them. I love the Falcons. Cordell is really good. That's a beautiful start. I mean, he's a running back. I listed at running back on fantasy, and he basically plays receiver. I have Kyle Pitts in a couple leagues.
Yeah.
Started off really slow, but he's gotten it going.
He's gotten it good. I mean, boom or bust right now. I don't think he had a good game last week, if I remember correctly, but, he's been getting it done some weeks against some not-so-good teams, but he shows promise when he does that.
And he's only a rookie, too, remember? So
that's crazy to me. I thought he was a 4-year
And they honestly have him playing, more receiver and tight end.
Yeah, because big news out of there. Yeah. Calvin Ridley announces he's having some mental health issues, so he'll step away from the game there. So maybe Russell Gage is your number one there. So that's a good pickup if he's still on your waiver wires.
With the Saints, now that Jameis is hurt, I really don't care anymore as much.
Yeah.
Maybe Alvin Kamara, of course. Michael Thomas will be coming back soon, though.
No, he won't.
He won't.
He just announced 2 days ago.
Yeah, that's right.
He was practicing and he tweaked it, so he's done. So the sad news is, Michael Thomas will miss this season because he tweaked something in recovery. They came out and said it was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So Ridley and Michael Thomas, obviously going to be out for this matchup. So that's the shocker.
Maybe
you're
Marquez
right with
Callaway. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's had a few good games though.
Yeah, he has.
Then let's go into the Raiders at the Giants.
So what I see in this matchup is not that much, to be honest. They're two not so good teams again. One of the worst matchups of the weekend. The only notable news that I could see coming out of this matchup is that the loss of Henry Ruggs to that terrible accident that happened, and I just don't see much else. I guess you could say that is Saquon back? I never know with him anymore.
So Saquon, I believe, is still questionable. I don't know if it's like 100% he will play, but maybe. And their whole wide receiver core, just banking off that injury thing, has been kind of
Sterling is out, I think, again.
And I think Kadarius Toney tweaked his finger.
Yeah.
So everybody on the
all those guys are
whole
hurt.
Giants
Daniel
team.
Jones is hurt, right? No.
I'm not 100%
No, maybe not.
sure.
I think he's healthy. You can look that up, but the just going to the Raiders side, I believe Waller is still going to be out. But yeah, like you said, loss of Henry Ruggs, especially. I mean, maybe that boosts Hunter Renfrow stock. Maybe that boosts Brian.
And then
Edwards stock,
I remember
but
I
once
picked
Waller.
up Zay Jones this week because of the incident. So I'd look for him maybe if he could get something done, but it's mostly going to be Hunter Renfrow.
And especially when Waller comes back, he's just going to be a target, guy all the way. He's just going to get everything. You got something, Chris?
Yeah, so Saquon out, backup running back out.
Devontae Booker's out?
Gary, maybe that's not maybe that's not the backup.
Okay.
But then wide receivers. Here are the wide receivers.
Yeah.
John Ross, questionable. Dante Pettis, questionable. Sterling Shepard, doubtful. Kenny Galladay, questionable. Kadarius Toney, questionable.
Yeah, it's been like that the whole season,
So I think
too.
their entire receiving
It was like legs at the start, and now it's just like everything. So that's been the main mess. I think you're right with this one, Griffin. Just too many injuries, really, to like invest in a ton of people. Then let's get into the Patriots at the Panthers. I just want to talk about Damien Harris for the Patriots real quick. He has had a really good, fantasy year overall, and he doesn't really get a ton of credit, but he has actually been going at a really good rate. I just think he's kind of like your outlier there. And if you got Damian Williams, and you probably got him pretty late, paid off because he's been very productive. And quickly going back to how it was a surprise, Belichick usually runs his running back as a committee. This year, it's been all Damien Harris, so that was just interesting to see. On the Carolina side of things, Christian McCaffrey is, I believe, very close to returning this week. I don't know if it's. I think it's questionable.
He's still listed on the IR, but he's supposed to play.
It's like similar to the David Montgomery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, is David Montgomery supposed to play this week?
He's going to be off IR. So
okay, cool.
We'll talk about that when the Monday night thing comes. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah. Robbie Anderson,
he's been having
one of the worst seasons I think I've ever seen.
That's why I love DJ Moore, because I'm a big DJ Moore guy, big DJ Moore guy. I have him in a lot of my leagues, and it paid off really well.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it with that. And I just quickly before we move on, it will be very interesting to see going back to that draft class of the QBs, like. People say Mac Jones is doing the best right now. Like, we'll see where all that stuff turns out. It's so early, but it's cool to see all these like young quarterbacks in the league. Then let's get into the Bills at the Jaguars.
Well, there's not much to say about the Jaguars anymore besides, James Robinson's been a stud all year, so he's obviously a must-start.
That's literally it.
But that's literally it. And you know what? It's scary. Buffalo defense is a scary matchup for running backs this year. So, I mean, I would look for Robinson potentially to bust this week. Still start him, obviously. He's proven that he's a must-start each week, but you never know if this great Buffalo defense.
Yeah.
Buffalo defense has gotten me a lot of points down the road, like some big points that have won me weeks, like multiple times now, so I appreciate them. Yeah.
What are your guys' opinions on, like, defenses? Like, when you're drafting, do you... Because
I drafted defense.
You drafted defense?
Like 100%. Dude, if you have the best defense, like the Rams got me 17 points in a win 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
like,
so
that's good.
I usually draft. I'll tell you how I did it. Actually, I usually draft semi good defense. Maybe it's got some upside. So I drafted the Browns. They've been like this year, but usually in the first 2 or 3 weeks, I'll like scale the waiver wire and see like maybe this team's going to make a break. So week 2, I saw the Cardinals were really clicking, and I picked them up, and that has really helped me. But I always stack defenses too. Like if you see a good defense on your waiver wire and you've got like an iffy like running back or wide receiver that you're fine with dropping, maybe pick up that second or third defense, because especially come playoff time, they're huge assets. You need to have good defenses and matchups in playoffs, or it could cost you.
Yeah, I always draft my defenses high. I'm a person who believes in the defense can win you games. So I usually draft my defenses around round 8, round 7.
I'm shocked.
This year hasn't gone so well. I drafted Miami, who was doing decent last year. This year,
they have a good secondary, so I get why you did it.
Yeah,
but
I mean they had hype going in.
The only 2 defenses I own in any of my leagues are the Rams and Buffalo.
Oh, that's awesome. That's like top tier.
That's
great.
Jeez.
I had to start Packers 2 weeks ago. When did the Rams? No, not Rams. When did yeah, wait, hold on. When did the other team have their bye? When did Buffalo have their bye?
Oh, it was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I had to start Green Bay defense, and they got me like -2 points. So that was not cool.
Yeah, and then my other defense is the Steelers going into the season. Hype, and then most letdown. So
you've had 2 letdowns.
They've had a lot of injuries.
I feel like they always do. Like even last year with the undefeated season.
And every time I see Ben Roethlisberger, I can't take that team seriously.
Oh yeah,
so
we've talked about it so many times. That dude is just, we don't like him in here. Then let's go into the Vikings at the Ravens.
Yeah, I have a lot of guys on these 2 teams. So Justin Jefferson's had a pretty solid year for me.
He had a dud last week, which pissed me off.
He did have a dud last week, and I was pretty upset about it, but it's all right.
That's randomly.
Dalvin Cook, I hope he can get the points flowing again. And then I'm not a fan of Adam Thielen because he's taking Justin Jefferson's poise, but if you have Adam Thielen, play him.
Yes.
Baltimore, I have Marquis Brown. I've played him at the flex quite a few times. He makes me really angry sometimes. Lamar must start just because of the running upside, really.
Yeah.
And, I mean, obviously he's a great quarterback, but no one you could really start at running back.
That's what I was about to say.
Unsafe. Tight end Mark Andrews. If you have Mark Andrews, that's great.
That's their guy.
Lamar loves Mark Andrews, so that's always a W. I think
that's pretty
really,
much it.
Yeah.
I just quickly wanted to talk about something that could prove to be interesting near the end of the season. So the Ravens drafted Rashad Bateman very early in this draft. I believe it was second round or maybe late first. But he went on IR, and now he's going to come back. So I'm just very interested to see how they use him. He's probably just going to be a bench stash for the rest of the year, but with a wide receiver core that's basically just Marquis Brown and Sammy Watkins and
who's
Mark
out.
Andrews. Yeah,
Sammy
so
Watkins
Rashad Bateman, I think he's got maybe an opportunity to step up. Especially this week, we'll see how he fits in.
Definitely a position the Ravens are going to have to look to improve in the future.
Yeah, I know.
They really don't have anyone who's just like they're going to go up and get that ball.
Yeah,
Hollywood
Brown's like their guy, but
I've seen him drop so many.
Yeah, that was like
that's kind of his problem just going into this year is the drops.
Then let's get into the Chargers at the Eagles.
So I drafted Keenan Allen. I think that was my first round draft pick. Solid player this year, probably one of, if not the best player on the Chargers right now. The QB Justin Herbert playing solid this year, rookie of the year. So you can tell that he has a lot of upside to him in that he's feeding the right person the ball. Keenan Allen really gets it done. Don't like Mike Williams so much as he's stealing targets, but he is that deep shot player that they need at around 6'4", something like that.
Maybe like
huge,
5'2", yeah.
Towers over the defenders, so he can just jump and get that ball.
Yeah.
Philadelphia has been having some troubles getting started, but with that win over the Lions last week, that 41 to I think it was 14.
Yeah, something like that.
Completely destroyed. Jalen Hurts barely had to throw the ball. It was mostly just a running game. Boston Scott got in, just did his work. Kenneth Gainwell didn't get that many
Yeah.
touches until like the end of the game, but they got a solid running committee there. So as long as
Joey Bosa.
Joey.
Nick's on Niners.
Joey Bosa holds up his deal and keeps the running backs contained and going down the middle, I don't think Philadelphia will get much. And Philadelphia wide receivers are just lackluster this year.
Yeah,
to say the
Devonta
best.
Smith is like your best bet. I know you
Yeah.
have him.
I have
he's
him,
been,
but lackluster, boomer bust.
Yeah.
Just can't really, have that from a wide receiver like that.
And then quickly, before you guys talk about anything you want, I talked about this last week on the podcast, how in Herbert's first year, Belichick absolutely had his number. He put up like 12 fantasy points. And Belichick kind of had the solution for him last year. It was weird. So this year, I said it on the pod, maybe I have some concern for that. And it will be interesting to see how Herbert's growth has affected Belichick's game plan as one of the greatest defensive-minded coaches ever. Belichick actually stuffed Herbert again, and the Patriots got the win. Herbert threw a pick six, and it was just a shocker to see the Patriots win that game last week. So obviously I think Herbert is going to rebound against this Eagles secondary and stuff. I mean, Darius Slay is really good, but besides that, I think he should have a bounce-back week. But I just think it's really interesting that Belichick has had the answer for Herbert in his young career so far. We got anything else for that matchup?
Pretty much.
It's pretty much set in stone, especially
Yeah.
for the Chargers. Then let's get into the Packers at the Chiefs. Aaron Rodgers has COVID, as the Packers have been dealing with some issues there. Last week, Devontae Adams missed because he had COVID. I believe Randall Cobb also got COVID. Pretty much everyone in that wide receiver core has been a close contact, and just it's kind of been a mess there so far. But
And Robert Tonyan's hurt.
Yeah, he's actually done for the
he's
season.
done for the year.
His
Yeah.
ACL, I think.
Yeah.
But Jordan Love stepping up this week. We'll see how he does in his debut here. Rodgers, maybe he's taught him his way. Will it be the Favre to Rodgers to Love?
Jordan Love throws 4 picks minimum. minimum. Dude's just going to be airing it out and not doing it. He's going to try and look like Aaron Rodgers out there. And we all know he just can't do it.
Yeah.
He's going to go out there and throw a lot of picks. Kansas City by a mil.
Obviously, Devontae Adams being back is going to help him, but besides that, it might be a tough day for him. But for a tough season it's been so far, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, who I think
Whose secondary is actually really bad. So
the defense as a whole is.
Yeah.
But the problem, obviously, hasn't been the defense, but I don't think Mahomes has gone a game this year without throwing a pick.
Some of those picks, though,
Or
have been
turnovers.
so unlucky.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Like,
That's
you see
so
the
true,
one from
yeah.
last week? It, bounced off 2 guys' helmets, and then,
it goes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
personally think
And then
those.
he fumbled.
I
though,
think
so
those picks shouldn't count in the stat sheet.
Yeah.
The ones where it hits a receiver's
Yeah.
hands first and goes I don't think that should count for their stat.
It's a bit unfair.
I think
but
that should just be a fumble.
You gotta
Because
trust your
honestly,
wide receivers.
It's the wide receiver's fault for sucking, not the quarterback.
And you know what?
It's like,
I think everyone, in the NFL knows Pat Mahomes is still great. It's just, the fantasy players are getting upset with all
I
those
think
picks.
it's just that he's had such good years that when he looks like an average player, an average QB, it just looks like he's the worst now. But
Yeah.
he's had those great years in the past where he's just looked like a stud, like no one's ever played like him before. But now that looks like an average guy, everyone just thinks he's terrible.
And I quickly wanted to ask you, Connor, because I know you're an owner of Darrell Williams. How have you liked his play? Throughout these couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's been great. When the glide went down, he stepped up, did great. He got me some points. He had 2 20-plus games, I believe.
Oh,
so,
really? Oh,
yeah.
geez,
So he was a great flex play for me to pick up. He was a steal off the waivers. But I believe Hilaria is coming back this week, so I did
really?
yes.
Oh, shoot.
So I did have to say goodbye to him. So he is off the team. But yeah, he did great. And, I do want to say one thing. I also have Devontae Adams. I would say, and this goes for Aaron Rodgers too, you almost, for a fantasy player, got to be somewhat happy they get COVID now than later. And I'm no scientist, but, if you get COVID now, I doubt you're going to get it in a few weeks from now.
Yeah, of course.
In the playoffs where it matters most for fantasy
Yeah,
players.
yeah.
That's just one thing I thought of.
I mean, I would have said that last year. This year, I think a lot of guys obviously have the vaccine and like has a less chance of getting COVID this year. Like last year, it's kind of like they're going to get it at some point. It's just a matter of when. This year, it's like they might not get it all. But that's an interesting perspective there. But let's get into the Cardinals at the 49ers.
Yeah, Kyler Murray, he had an off week last week. I only got like 11 or 16 points. So not the best performance there, but I think he's going to bounce back against San Fran. How San Fran's running back committee? Nothing.
Debo.
Just basically just Debo. Yeah.
Elijah Mitchell has been.
Elijah Mitchell played really, really, really good football last week.
He's had some respectable play actually. George Kittle, is he even playing?
Dude,
he's questionable every week.
He's brought off the IR. I have him in one league.
He's been hurt. He's been kind of a mess this year, but that team has kind of been a mess.
I've never been
49ers have been injured. They have not stopped being injured since the championship.
I know,
that
dude.
year.
Crazy.
Yeah. That was
2 years ago.
Super Bowls ago.
Yeah.
I feel like Kittle is starting to become a little overrated too.
I agree.
People think he's so good.
I'm about to ship him out in fantasy.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. I've picked up Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, that's
honestly,
what I'm talking about. Back to the
a fine play.
Like who's gonna have good weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, quickly to the Cardinals, not undefeated anymore. We'll see how they, rebound and stuff.
That AJ Green pass last week, that was terrible.
Goodness.
Yeah,
what was he doing?
I don't know who that was on, but no one looked threw too early. One of the two, just terrible.
That's
play.
A tough way to lose, especially to that Packers team who was affected by COVID, as we talked about. But let's get into the Titans at the Rams.
So, obviously for the Rams, you got to start Cup. Lockdown start. And then I'd probably Darrell Henderson. I've really liked it. I tried to acquire Darrell Henderson in a couple, 2 or 3 leagues. I really liked him. Liked what I saw after. He's just. I mean, they have a good offense for that. Matthew Stafford's one of my favorite quarterbacks right now in the league. Robert Woods has showed out. Couple weeks now.
Yeah, he's flipped it around. He's been playing better.
And I'm blanking on this. The last.
Higbee?
Not Higbee. The other wide receiver.
It's something Jefferson.
Oh,
Van Jefferson. And then with the Titans, I mean, Derrick Henry, AJ Brown.
That's the news. Derrick Henry's out for.
I did know
he's
that.
Got to have surgery.
I did know that.
I knew you.
I knew that. Derrick Henry is out, so I probably who's their backup?
Jeremy McNichols.
Yeah, Nick Nichols. Oh, they picked up Adrian Peterson. So
I love AP. Honestly, I might pick up AP. That dude's so good.
If you have Derrick Henry, I think he's set to miss 7 to 8 weeks.
So that's playoffs. So that's rough.
Yeah.
I don't see Tennessee even competing though on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't either. But like you said, 2 guys who have flipped it around. Robert Woods has had some better weeks, and AJ Brown has completely shifted. Especially with Julio out, AJ Brown has looked a lot better.
He won't have a great game.
Yeah, I think you're.
Dude, Von Miller. The fact that Von Miller and Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey are on the same team blows my mind.
That defense is crazy. That's a good addition. I think that's really interesting. Even though he's older, he's a good leader.
100%.
He still puts up good play.
Dude, and you also have to think in the fact, the Rams' defense, that defensive line's already scary. You just put in Von Miller.
Yeah.
Who do you double team?
They're trying to make a run. They have, no picks.
You can't double team. You have to double team Donald.
Oh, 100%.
And, you really got to send to it, Von. So
it's going to be interesting.
Leonard Floyd's probably going to finish this year off really strong, and the Rams' defense is going to coast.
And let's get into our last matchup of the week. Monday night, we got the Bears at the Steelers.
Justin Fields, I wouldn't say he's a start, but he's got going this year. I think the last matchup against the 49ers, he really showed who he was, how he was running quarterback, and he really got going for that game. Besides that, their defense has been playing decent, nothing above average, nothing showing that much.
Sure.
And then Pittsburgh just coming off that 15-1 season with something like that.
Yeah, it was
now disappointment city over there. Just 3-4, something like that.
Yeah.
Nothing showing much. Juju, boomer bust. Ben Roethlisberger can't throw past 10 yards. Got a shoulder injury.
So Najee, like, are we getting here? Like, it's just Najee. Like,
Najee's the name of that city right now.
I quickly want to go back to the Bears just because I was talking about Montgomery earlier. So Nagy said yesterday, I believe it's currently Friday, or maybe it was Wednesday when he said this, but he's going to have David Montgomery come off IR and probably play. It's like probably a game time decision. And if he plays, I think he's limited. So we'll see what happens.
I would definitely say Bears gotta play him. You have Herbert who's playing really well, so he can take majority of the snaps.
Yeah.
Can just kind of sit back. We have a bye week next week. He'll get to rest a whole another week.
Yeah.
Someone on the waivers I just picked up in every single one of my leagues is Darnell Mooney. Justin Fields loves that dude.
Yeah, and he doesn't like Gabriel.
Loves that
That's
dude.
the story.
It's because they didn't. It's because Nagy's possibly the dumbest head coach in the NFL. He decided to not have Justin Fields throw to Allen Robinson in summer camp. So we have really good coaching staff. Luckily, our running backs can bail us out. Defense has played pretty good.
Yeah.
No sacks last week. Was pretty upset about that.
I think they kind of had a bad week.
However, this week they take on the old fart bag that is Big Ben. That team, if they can stop Najee, they should not lose.
Yeah, I think Claypool is and Deontay Johnson obviously are going to try and mess with that secondary of the Bears. But if Jalen Johnson can,
if Khalil Mack does not hurt Ben, I'm honestly going to probably be mad about it.
Yeah. And I think that's about it with that matchup. So we thank you all so much for watching. We thank our guest, Griffin, for coming in and talking fantasy. He actually won the championship in our league last year. Don't like saying that, but you get some analysis from the champion. He has some unorthodox ways, as he talked about, drafting the defense in the 7th round, but somehow it works. But again, thank you so much for watching. For Connor Krebs, for Griffin, I'm Jack Conroy, and we will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much, and good luck with your fantasy games.